one of the questions I had was, how do you see Kanan and Breeze's relationship changing now with this new revelation that Breeze is Defcon's son? So how do you see that bond playing out now between those two? Do you think that, because so far it's been like, Kanan is like a little sidekick or whatever, but do you think that the power dynamic is going to shift now and Kanan is kind of going to, start using that information to his advantage? Or like, do you think that Breeze will continue to hold his position of power and he'll keep, kind of taking Kanan under his wing and teaching him things? And, how do you think this information will affect things going forward? So I'll go to you first, Dana. What do you think?
Okay, so it goes all the way back to the conversation that was had at the very end, where he said, there's a fine line between standing out there and being between standing out here, between standing in here and being out there. And he says, I'm not worried, I'm aware, right? So he is going to use this new position with Breeze as a protector. And as you stated before, he's more of a sidekick. Now he is literally the right-hand man. But one of the things that we do know, because he learned it from his mama, he knows how to manipulate situations. So I'm starting to wonder, we just know that, Breeze was Kanan's mentor, but I'm starting to wonder if Kanan is starting to manipulate Breeze into getting him what he wants even faster. So remember the whole conversation between Breeze and Raquel? That kind of, to me, it felt like it was a nudge, it was a push by Kanan. Even though Breeze was like, I wanna see who really is out there, I wanna meet the moms. It really felt like that push. So I'm starting to wonder if it's actually, as you stated before, when it comes to Breeze's death, if Kanan and Breeze was really like this, even if he was stagnant, you were really like this? There's a fine line between standing out there and being in here. That's not his brother. The Breeze thinks that's his brother. He's not going to ever look at him as like, that's my actual brother. We ride or die with this. He's going to see this as, I can manipulate him because he thinks he's my brother. Remember, he didn't say nothing. He just looked like, I got him. So this is the best thing that could ever happen to him. So we don't know what's happening with Snaps and Pops, but as you stated, I had an interview with Erica, and Erica was basically saying, everything is not what it seems. She has her guard up. She sent Breeze out there on purpose to get with Kanan. What is really cooking up behind the scenes with Erica, with Snaps and Pops? We don't know yet because they have been off screen since what, the whole season so far? Like the last time we saw was the finale. We miss you. How you doing? Are you okay? You eating well? Did you shoot anyone in the back of the head? So that's how I view this whole thing. This is like, I now have another upcoming when it comes to my mother, when it comes to this game. Kanan's not dumb. He knew that whole thing. He stated, oh, it's a test. But again, because Taz was so annoying, it was just like, yeah, I felt like to get him. So I am, very happy for this union. But I do see that Defcon doesn't know this yet, but he's going to be the pawn in this game. And meaning Kanan, is probably going to be the one to manipulate Breeze into killing Snaps and Pops. So that's all I have to say about that. Because remember, again, you start believing your own BS. So he's like, yeah, my brother. Wouldn't you do this for me, brother? Don't you have my back, brother? And then again, as I think Richard once says, we don't know the actual bloodline between Breeze and Snaps and Pops. He keeps saying, yeah, that's my blood. Blood of what? Because you could adopt a baby and be like, that's my baby. But that's not really your baby, biologically. So where is Breeze's parents? We don't know. We just know that Erica told me that Snaps and Pops raised him since he was a boy. Are you really sisters? You many times, yo, that's my bestie, but that's my sister. And there's no blood related to that. That doesn't mean you don't love each other the same way, but it's getting like a fine line. So that's it.
Yeah, I definitely think Snaps and Pops they're holding some secrets, because there's a lie in here somewhere. Because I recall, I don't remember which one's Snaps and which one's Pops, but I remember she said that she said something like Defcon, like she was talking to Kanan, and she said, your mother is the only woman that Defcon dealt with. So if they're aware that Defcon is Breeze's father, then why say that? That means you're lying and manipulating. And maybe they know the truth that, well, we don't know if it's the truth, but maybe they know that Defcon isn't really Breeze's father, but they just go along with it or something, so
right.
There's some kind of lie going on there.
And the show this season has been spilling breadcrumbs all over the place. Who is Defcon? Who's Defcon? Who is Breeze? Marvin don't know who Breeze is. Raquel never met Breeze. Who's this Breeze? But you're supposed to tell me back in the day. Remember, according to legend, Breeze came first, right? Then came Kanan. So you mean to tell me Raquel and what's her name? Snaps, Pops, Erica, whatever character she plays, I think Snaps. You mean to tell me they were friends, they were mutuals, they were running the same thing, and they didn't know about each other's kid? How come Erica's the only one knows who Kanan is? How come Raquel keeps saying, who's Breeze? Like, if that's the boy that you raised, and we all run in the same circle, wouldn't we all know who Breeze is? So it's not making sense to me.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions there. But Richard, what do you think about the whole bond between Kanan and Breeze, and how does this new revelation change things between them?
Well, I think Dana said it best. Yes, Kanan is probably now going to manipulate Breeze out of the belief that they are brothers. I also think, however, that things are going to start to accelerate as far as Snaps and Pops getting up out of here. Like you said, they have some secrets. And I think that eventually by basically the angle that Jukebox is working is going to coincide with this, for her getting information from Garcia. She very well might find out that not only did Snaps and Pops take out Famous and Crystal, they possibly also took out Breeze's parents. So that will give the motivation for Kanan and Breeze to take them out. That could be the path that they're heading in. But I do think for the time being that Kanan is going to treat this as an advantage to him, saying, okay, we're brothers. Okay, I'm going to play along with the lies, because he learned from the best person that tells lies, Raquel. So that's what he's going to do. I think that's exactly the path that it's going to take.
Yeah, I believe that he's definitely going to play along, because if you think about it, he's not even lying. He just didn't say anything, so he didn't even tell a lie. He just didn't say anything. So, I mean, all he has to do is keep his mouth shut, and, Breeze believes they're brothers. So, so he's in a good position right now.
And let me just add this. I thought it was funny where they burning the body, and he says, oh, Kanan, don't worry, this ain't gonna happen to you. But like I said earlier, hey, if Ghosts and Kanan, they have to chop up Breeze. Well, yeah, Breeze will be the one getting fried. So I think that's why I think it's funny, So that's important to remember that scene for later in case we see it again in the future.